I'd like to call to order Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Thursday, May 6th. If everybody would please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. And Natalie, would you please call the roll?
Member Peters?
Here.
Member Benedict?
Here.
Member Estrada?
Here.
Member Dugan?
Here.
Vice Chairman McBride?
Here.
Chairman Miller?
Here. All right. And Director, do we have any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I would like to note that we did advertise for 3 separate applications that were not placed on the agenda. There was that zone change, a conditional use permit, and major site plan for the Seventh-day Adventist Church on Colorado Street.
I don't think you're on.
Yeah.
You're getting there now.
Okay.
Can you start over?
Yeah, sure. So those 3 items were advertised, but were pulled from the agenda at the request of the applicant. So if there's anyone in the audience that's here for those, we will not be hearing those this evening.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, there we go. All right. Did everybody get a chance to review the minutes from last meeting?
I make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Jumping into the new business. So, we've got a lot of new faces. Just so everybody knows, the agenda, or the each agenda item, the staff will present. The commission will get the opportunity to ask questions of the staff. Once that's done, then we will bring up an applicant and or their representative to give any further clarification, maybe add anything to the presentation that they feel is necessary. And then at that time, the commission will get the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant. Once that's completed, then we will open it up to the public. So if there's an agenda item that somebody from the public would like to speak to, we do have, during the public portion, just to keep things moving, we'll have a timer. So there'll be a 3 minutes to go through. We cannot have open discussion, so we may refer you to staff, but otherwise, if we do have somebody here that can answer any questions, then we will bring up the appropriate person at that time once your time is up. And then it will come back to the commission. So with that, first agenda item, public hearing and consideration request by Larson Engineering, DSA 21-00024 major site plan.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. Larson Engineering is requesting approval for a major site plan to allow for the addition of a bulk fuel expansion for the Good to Go convenience store on 4.61 acres located at 1000 West Gila Bend Highway. You can see it highlighted below in yellow. So Good to Go is planning an expansion to their existing site. They will be adding an additional covered fueling area, driveways to Thornton and 9th Street, an air station, trash enclosure, and additional landscape along the perimeter of the site. There is no additional buildings and no extension of water and or sewer services. You can see the original buildings in blue. The area that they're going to be working on is yellow, and then the new fuel canopy will be located in the red area. When looking at the major site plan, we look at the following review criteria. All of it's been covered in your staff report. We're just going to concentrate on 2 items for this particular request. The first one is the impact of the plan on the existing and anticipated traffic and parking conditions. So a traffic statement has been provided. for this development and was reviewed by the city traffic engineer and by ADOT. Prior to the submittal, the applicant met with city staff and ADOT to determine the best locations for ingress and egress for the site. It was determined in those meetings to modify and remove all the existing access routes into the site and add driveway access to 9th Street to reduce the impact on Gila Bend Highway and Thornton Road. You can see in the graphic that they provided, we're removing the first driveway along Gila Bend to get separation from that intersection, and then we're shifting the second driveway over a little bit and changing its configuration, removing the other two driveways along Thornton Road, moving them up farther away from the intersection, and then also adding one on 9th Street. Next item to cover is the landscaping. A preliminary landscape plan was submitted with this application. The plan has been modified to meet all city requirements. A final landscape plan will be required to be submitted in conjunction with the site development permit that addresses any additional comments. You can see that with the expansion, it should improve the aesthetics of the site quite a bit, which is why we're covering the landscaping on this. In regards to notification, we met or exceeded all city requirements. We did not receive any inquiries on this particular request. So in conclusion, staff recommends the commission approve DSA 21-00024, major site plan for good to go with the following conditions. They'll need to complete a covenant to hold properties as one or combine the lots in association with any building or site development permit. They will need to do complete a map of dedication for the 9th Street. Right now, they have 20 feet dedicated. Requirement is 30 feet. They will need to provide a photometric plan meeting all city requirements, and then provide one hard copy of all the approved plans. Any questions?
Any questions from Member Dugan?
I just want to know is, with this new gas pump, is that to also take care of, fill up 18-wheelers in there also, or is this strictly for cars and trucks, regular cars and trucks?
I think it's primarily going to be for trucks, so semi-trucks, and there's
For semi-trucks?
Yeah, and there's semi-truck parking as well. But we do have the applicant online as well, so he can further clarify that if he needs.
No, so it's primarily for 18-wheelers, correct?
Yeah, that's.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? No? All right, thank you. Would the applicant like to add anything or speak?
Yeah, this is Mike Ria with Larson. The addition is primarily for commercial vehicles, the 18-wheelers. Otherwise, Joe, thanks for the presentation.
Great. Any questions for the applicant? No? All right. This time then I will open it up to the public. Would anybody from the public like to speak to this agenda item? Seeing none of you jump up and run to the podium, I will close the public portion and bring it back to the commission.
I'd like to make a motion, please. I'd like to make a motion to approve DSA 21-00024, major site plan for Good and Go with the listed conditions.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yep.
Yeah. Natalie, would you please call the roll?
Member Peters,
Aye.
Member Benedict,
Yes.
Member Estrada,
Yes.
Member Dugan,
Yes.
Vice Chairman McBride,
Yes.
Chairman Miller.
Yes. Motion approved. Excited to see some development and beautification in that part of town. All right, next up, public hearing and consideration of a request by D.R. Horton, DSA 21-00047, conditional use permit and associated resolution.
All right. D.R. Horton's requesting approval of a conditional use permit to allow a model home complex with off-street parking to be located at 1014, 1018, 1024, 1028, and 1034 West Paradise Drive within the Gila Butte subdivision. You can see it highlighted in yellow down below. So model homes and sales offices are allowed as a conditionally permitted use in all residential zoning districts. The proposed temporary model home sales complex is within a planned area development zone district where single-family residences are allowed. Since a sales complex is not specifically listed, a conditional use permit is required, as would be in other residential areas. You can see the layout of the model home complex down below. There'll be 3 homes, a parking lot, and then they're also going to utilize one area for construction sales trailer. When looking at the review criteria, we cover the following 5 criteria. All criteria has been evaluated and covered within the staff report, and staff finds that all have been met. You guys are probably pretty familiar with the model home complex criteria. Regards to notification, we met or exceeded all requirements. We sent notices. And we also posted in the paper. We did not require a sign for this particular request. No comments were received. In conclusion, staff recommends the Planning Commission approve the conditional use permit and associated resolution for a model home sales complex within Gila Buttes, subject to the following conditions that were covered in your staff report. Any questions?
Questions for staff? No questions for staff. At this time, applicant and/or representative like to come forward?
I don't have anything to add, but I'm happy to answer questions if you have any.
All right. Any questions for the applicant? Member Duke? No? All right. Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course.
Made his job easy tonight. With that, I'll open it up to the public. Would anybody from the public like to speak to this agenda item? No opposing home builder or anything like that? I'm sorry. I'm going to close the public portion and bring it back to the commission.
Mr. Chairman, I do have it's a question for the applicant. The construction parking, is that walled in on 2 sides?
The construction parking will be walled in on the west side and then the south side. We won't have a wall on the east side until we build houses over there. Or, sorry, not the south side, the west side and the north side. And, well, and then it does turn around towards the east side, but it won't be on that, like, southeast side. You get
So
what I'm saying?
the little one on the bottom doesn't have one line. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I'm just trying to get to the...
So the bottom right dotted line is not walled in, but the other,
So
Correct.
Yeah.
there'll be a wall on the perimeter here, this
at least a partial.
this side, and this will not be constructed until a home's built.
That's correct.
Is that clear?
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm trying to decide how I feel about that.
That's fair.
But it's going to get built, right?
Someday.
Yeah, you know,
Once we- yeah.
it just would have been nice to have that blocked off but it'll be built out so fast.
Yeah, it's going to take longer.
We'll just keep
That's what I'm
believing
saying. It's
that.
going to be done quicker.
Surprised the homes
pretty
aren't already there. Right? The way things are going. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Commission?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve DSA-21-00047 for our mobile home sales complex with Gila Buttes, subject to the following conditions of the staff.
Second.
Model home.
All right, so I have a motion for the conditional use permit and associated resolution, which was listed for the model home sales complex with the conditions. And a second. I got multiple seconds. They're flying all over the place. People are trying to get you out of here, apparently. Any discussion? Natalie, would you please call the roll?
Member Peters?
Aye.
Member Benedict?
Yes.
Member Estrada?
Yes.
Member Dugan?
Yes.
Vice Chairman McBride,
Yes.
Chairman Miller.
Yes. All right. Good luck on your next steps. Okay, let's see here. Public hearing and consideration of a request by EPS Group, DSA 21-00020, preliminary plat, Phase 2 of Ghost Hollow.
EPS Group is requesting approval of a preliminary plat to add 130 lots for the Phase 2 of Ghost Hollow Estates. You can see it highlighted in blue below. It's the extension of the Ghost Hollow Estates. Phase 1 and 2 were originally preliminary platted and approved in 2006. Following the original pre-plat, Phase 1 was final platted, partially developed at that time, and has since recently been fully developed, prompting the request for these additional 130 lots. Phase 2 was left undeveloped, and the original pre-plat has since expired, which is prompting this request as well. This request is mimicking the original pre-plat and is matching the number of lots and location of all infrastructure and amenities. Subdivision does have cause for the proposed lots. So when looking at the review criteria, we look at the following 5 criteria. We'll just cover 3 this evening. First one will be conformance with zoning. Proposed lot and layout are included and embedded within the approved Ghost Hollow PAD document. The width of the lots are primarily 60 and 65 feet wide. All lots exceed 7,000 square feet and comply with the PAD residential design guidelines and the existing PAD zoning. The next one is going to be the drainage pattern. Drainage report was provided and reviewed with the development center engineer. The conclusions of the drainage report confirm that the drainage infrastructure meet the design standards of the city. You can see the location of the basins highlighted in blue. The outfalls for those basins are located with the red arrows. Staff did receive comments from an existing Phase 1 homeowner with concerns regarding the drainage, among other items. You can see the picture she sent shows erosion of an area. You can see the location of that erosion area shown here. With the construction of Phase 2, we believe the improvements will alleviate any of those concerns. You can see it lays right over where that is, where the erosion's occurring, and then you see the tract there where their open space and retention basin is located. So we believe that will alleviate all those concerns about the drainage. Next one is access to public roads. A traffic impact analysis was provided for this project. The applicant is currently working with ADOT to ensure all requirements and outstanding comments are being met. The recommendation from the TIA concludes that the intersection of Pinal Avenue and Ghost Ranch Road requires additional turn lanes and a traffic signal. You can see that's number 3 down below. Public street improvements have been submitted for the Half Street extension of Tizagut, which is to the west of the project, and for the extension of Ghost Ranch Road. Excuse me, that's actually Ghost Hollow Road. In regards to notification, we met or exceeded all requirements. As mentioned previously, we received email comments from one Phase 1 homeowner. Primarily, her concerns were related to construction and build quality of her home. However, there were concerns with the erosion issues near her home as well that we covered in the presentation. In conclusion, staff recommends the Planning Commission approve the preliminary plat for Ghost Hollow Phase 2 for 130 lots with the following technical corrections. Amend the landscape to meet 1 tree per 30 linear foot along Tizagut. Modify all plans to show the 10-foot PUE, meet curve table data requirements, revise TIA to address ADOT comments, and meet fire hydrant spacing requirements. All technical corrections. Any questions?
Yeah, I've got one.
McBride.
Will all of the traffic changes happen with the roadway and all that prior to construction or prior to people moving into the homes?
I think that's going to be determined with, through ADOT Pinal, ADOT controls Pinal, so as far as the street light goes, that's going to be determined through, the timing of that will be determined by ADOT, and then I'll have Dwayne speak in regards to the turn lanes on Ghost Ranch Road and the timing for that.
Thank you.
They didn't give you your own spot. Hang on, Dwayne's gonna come up and talk about traffic real quick, if that's all right.
Yeah, I have one question first, Joe, about that erosion area there. None of that is gonna creep into any of the lots, is it? Is it gonna stay in that retention area?
No, the new drainage pattern will collect any of the off-site drainage on the north and on the west boundary and transfer them through the site as designed in their drainage report and their drainage and grading plan.
Okay.
You also have the large, so that erosion's occurring right around in here. So it's actually just feeding right into this basin as is anyway.
Okay.
And then the drainage report covers how it's designed to outflow as well.
Okay, thank you.
As far as the lanes go, I think they should be built before everybody moves in. They're already doing that type of work in the area, so it makes sense to do all that. The signal, of course, is another issue, as Joe said, how soon that has to be constructed.
So we'll get improvements on Ghost Ranch Road. During public portion, you'll be able to. Okay, thank you. Yep. Any other questions for staff? Member Benedict?
Help me, my simple mind, understand where that flow is gonna come through from the north? Looks like it had come from the north.
For the drainage?
Yes, sir.
So we can look at this one a little bit, but I'll go to the overall one for you. So you can see up top, you have a drainage channel right here.
Okay.
That will transfer it down to this drainage channel and around. It will flow into this basin, overflow into this basin, overflow into this basin, and then out to its ultimate outfall location located here. This basin also is tied into that outfall.
Sure.
And through to this one down into that basin. This portion up here will be completed. It will tie into the phase 1 channel that runs around along the north and then down the east side of the project.
So,
Is that clear?
yeah, so that flow is not, the design is not for that flow to go through into the development. It's being diverted around.
Well, they're required to take any off-site flows and transfer them through the site and trying to attempt to get it to its ultimate outfall location
Sure.
of where it would be. Any of the internal retention basins are designed to withhold all the developed flows within the site.
Gotcha.
So the large retention basins will hold developed flows while the others will transfer the off-site flows through.
Yeah, I get, okay.
Commissioner Benedict, also, just so you know, we do have the design engineer on Zoom that can address that as well, maybe a little bit further during the public hearing portion.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? No? All right, well, this might be a good time for the applicant and/or a representative to come up and speak to, maybe answer some questions, add any information.
Sure. Hi, my name's Rick Tarian with LGI Homes. I don't have anything to add. I believe Joe did a really good job with his presentation tonight. And if you guys have any questions, I'll try to answer them to the best that I can.
Questions for the applicant?
So is that description how you would understand that the flows coming to the property is going to be routed around the edges,
That
so
is
to speak?
correct, yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
Good.
And
All
the
right.
big retention basin will handle all the on-site flows.
Good.
I have one
Thank you.
question. Go ahead, you done?
Go ahead.
Did ADOT come to you until you have to put a light up yet, or did they said no?
That, I would have to refer that to our engineers. They're the ones that are communicating with ADOT as far as the traffic signal, so.
Okay.
I can sort of speak to that. The traffic impact analysis does require that. This is actually a snip from the TIA indicating that a light's required on that site. They, as far as ADOT does have some outstanding comments on that existing TIA that they're still working through of some of those, and we will know that relatively soon.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No? All right. Well, thanks for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, would you like to hear from the design engineer regarding any drainage or traffic
Sure.
issues?
Let's do that while we're wiping down a microphone. If they don't mind.
Hello, I'm on Zoom.
All right. Well, thank you for being with us this evening.
Happy to join.
You want to talk a little bit about water flows for us?
What's her name?
Sure. You actually pretty much nailed it. So if you look at that northwest corner there around lot 67, 68, that's basically the high point of the site. So we have off-site flow that's coming onto the property from the northwest, which, that definitely explains why they're having some erosion issues there now, because the phase 2 hasn't yet been improved to handle all of that. So the plan is that along the north boundary, you see that channel that parallels lot 68 through 88 there. That is going to be a line channel that flows behind those lots towards the east and eventually will go into the box culvert and channel that is currently already in phase 1. And that was designed with that intention, the first phase of that was. And then on the, along Tuesday Boot, you have the other channel that's doing the same thing, just taking the portion of the flow, turning that down. Those basins or those pieces you see along the south there, along Ghost Ranch Road, yeah, that's actually just one big channel. So we have box culverts underneath those cul-de-sacs there. So all of that flows down, turns a corner, flows along into those box culverts, crosses under a box culvert, and then just it basically daylights out at the historic outfall location in the same location that it outlets now. And then on site, just like you said, we are retaining the full 100-year design storm on those internal basins, and emergency access of any runoff in excess of the 100-year storm would overtop the streets, flow into the streets, and then go out throughout the historic outfall that's currently there, as you've shown it. That's basically it. If there's anything else, I'm happy to attempt to answer.
Yes, ma'am. I have a couple of questions. You said it's lined. Is that a cement line border all the way around it? How does the water get?
It'll be
Go ahead.
It's a concrete line channel.
How does the water feed into it from the north? Does it just pour over the top of the edges, or is there something that would route the water into it?
Well, it's at the north end. It daylights to existing ground. There will be a turn down that buries that concrete lining, so you don't have any erosion of that. And so at the top end, the top of the channel is basically flush with the existing ground surface. So everything that's flowing down is going to hit that channel, drop down in it, and then start flowing away in those two directions.
Okay, so basically the north side of that channel is lower than the south side of that channel, up on the end from 68 to 88. So the water, when it comes across, is going to stop it and turn it down to that 90-degree corner?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay?
Flows it to the right.
No, it flows to the left.
No. Flows it to the right.
They said it goes all the way around.
Yeah, I
the
know, but
back.
I think in her explanation, if you want to clarify that north channel flows from left to right.
It flows to the
That's
east or
correct,
west.
yes.
And then the
Yep.
corner, it flows north to south, and then east, or from
Correct.
west to
That's-
east,
that's-
so it's going away
Yeah,
from
that
that
corner's
corner.
like your high point.
67, 68 is the highest point in the
Okay.
subdivision.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a miss. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So I've got one more question that.
Oh,
Thank you.
please.
Is Tuesday Goot, is part of the plan to improve Tuesday Goot, or is it, so it'll be paved and raised? I guess is part of my question.
Paved in what?
We are doing
Raised.
the adjacent half street.
Will they raise the grade of it, is the question?
The water's got to cross Tuesday what it comes down to.
No.
And then just the half street will flow into that historic flow.
Yeah. Comes across, rolls across it into
Yeah.
that.
So the question is, are we picking up the half-street flows from Tusigood into that channel
Well, and the rest.
that parallels it on the
Yeah, that
east
then
side?
get caught in the southern catch
Right.
basins.
Right. Can you clarify that for us?
Yeah, the half street flow from Tuesday Goot, that gets captured in the curb. It's going to flow south. It actually turns the corner and it runs along Ghost Ranch Road. And then there's a catch basin, and the catch basin is just west of the entrance, the entrance between phase 1 and phase 2. So that's where that flow from the street itself would get captured and then retained.
Any
You
other
know,
questions?
also, I wonder about the sheet flow, you know, coming across that direction that would cross, that would have crossed Tuesday Goot. Will it cross it, or will it just run down on the west side of Tuesday Goot? But those are challenges that are gonna come regardless. You know, that's.
Yeah, and we're definitely, I don't have the final surface in front of me right now, so it's something that the grade of our road is more or less mimicking the existing ground grade right now. So it's, for the most part, it's just going to be flowing south in that curve.
Good. All right. Any other questions? I didn't catch your name, by the way. I apologize. On Zoom.
Oh, me, this is Chandra McCarty.
All right. Well, I appreciate it.
I'm the engineer from EPS. You guys need anything?
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us this evening. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Did the commission have any questions about the traffic signal? Needed clarification at all?
No, I think we got that.
No,
Yeah.
we're good.
Got that covered, I think.
Yeah, we got it covered now.
All right, so then at this time, if there's no other questions for staff or the applicant, I will open it up to the public. Somebody from the public like to speak to this agenda item? Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Lisa Coster. I live at 4019 North Aleppo Court in Phase 1 of Ghost Hollow. This is my husband, Clayton Coster. We live at the same address.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. One thing, how close are they going to be built back up against where we're at right now? And is anybody taking a traffic count on the amount of automobiles coming and going from one red light?
If you want to go through questions that you have,
Yeah.
and then that way we'll
Okay.
come back and get the appropriate people, because
Sure.
it might be different people, and I
Okay.
don't want to be bringing other people
Right.
up.
So part 2 of that question is where the traffic light would be located. Because the current turn lane to turn into Ghost Hollow Ranch is actually at the entrance of the road. You have to physically go into the oncoming turn lane that's turning left in order to turn into our development. It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
So my concern is, where is the traffic light going to be located? Because it does not line up with the street across the street. Not for the turning left.
Looks like it'd been mismarked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
You know, also,
I have 3 minutes.
from what I understand, there was, the sewage system was put in our area 15 years ago. Why wasn't that disclosed?
And it was not disclosed
To
to
the
us
owners.
when we purchased.
Nobody disclosed it.
We just found that out today.
That's part of the law.
So
We've had,
we moved in, we purchased our home on August 27th, 2020.
yeah,
We did our walkthrough. We had 3 pages of repairs that were needed that included stucco, cracked home paint not completed on the outside, cracks in our stucco around the home. I placed my work order. I waited weeks on end while one person after another with LGI told me that these would be corrected. So I finally went on the computer, placed my work order January 28th. I have yet to have 1 email, 1 phone call, and all of a sudden, 2 days ago, a gentleman showed up, no card, no business attire, and says, "I'm here to fix your stucco." And that was the work order we placed in April. So my question was, what about all the 3 pages front and back of other repairs? Ceiling exposed, sheetrock exposed,
yeah, there's a lot of.
nails coming out of carpets, you name it. So our concern, our main concern is, why would the builder be building 130 more homes when he hasn't taken care of the 124 he built?
Yeah, he's got some workers in there that don't do quality work.
That's our main concern. And we would like our house fixed before they build more.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. So, I think you want to just kind of highlight the traffic light. I mean, ADOT's in control of that at this moment, but it's probably under review, so we don't know exactly the alignment, but you want to speak to that?
Actually, I think Dwayne probably has some good information on how that striping and laneage configuration is going to work.
Dwayne!
So-
Toss him under the
We're
bus.
getting our money's worth out of you today, buddy. I love it.
Well, there is quite a bit of restriping work that needs to be done there. I don't think it's ever going to match exactly across from each other, but it will be close enough to be safe, so.
Is there any additional widening down Ghost Ranch Road that will need to be done just with those traffic flows, do we know?
Are you talking about to the west or to?
Yeah, westward from the stoplight, heading west?
Yes, there's I forget how many feet back it goes. Do you remember, Joe? Goes back.
Excuse me. I think the westbound traffic's gonna be relatively the same.
No, but I'm saying on the, eastbound traffic, but on the west side of the road, canal, is gonna be
Most Hollow Road is going to be.
Yeah. so
widened
if
further
you-
back.
If you look at 3 here, you'll see that we'll have a turn lane and a lane that goes straight and a dedicated left turn lane. So a dedicated left turn lane and then a right turn and a straight on the south side of Ghost Ranch Road.
So it'll become 3 lanes wide. How far back?
It'll be two lanes wide.
Well, because then you have the other
The right
traffic.
turn and the straight are gonna be 1 lane, and then there will be a left turn lane according to the TIA.
And I don't remember how many feet west the widening goes.
Yeah.
But
I'm
it
not-
goes the adequate distance so that all the tapers work. So
Sure.
you can-
Okay, because it looks like on the aerials, it's fairly short at this moment and a little bit chaotic, obviously, sounds like. And so if we're widening that further back, that'll help alleviate. Okay.
Yeah, it won't look like it does now.
Basically, the city has no control what the state does on that. The Pinell Avenue is all controlled by the state. Really, we don't have much say what happens. They do what they want to do, correct?
Yeah, but we're talking about Ghost Ranch Road.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
No, I think I think ADOT's very collaborative with the city. They coordinate with Dwayne all the time on how the striping and the signalization works. So, no, I think they're very collaborative with us.
Okay.
Yeah, neither ADOT or us make a move on this kind of stuff without talking to each other.
Yeah. And then, awesome. I think that's,
So there will be one.
no, I'm
eastbound
following you.
lane.
There's one
Okay.
eastbound, or one westbound, and then a turn lane heading when you're facing east, and then
Yeah.
another straight through with a right turn.
Right.
That's why I said 3 lanes wide.
Right.
Right, so
And
now
I
you're
was
fu-
talking just about.
I know,
south.
you're tracking where I was going though now,
Okay.
right? So,
Just so we're absolutely clear.
okay, the street will become 3 lanes wide.
At the
We don't have-
location of the turn. Yes.
2 east-west, or 1 east-west, or 1 east and 1 west, and 1 turn.
Correct.
All right, so you're clear there. Okay, perfect. Dwayne, thank you. Or,
Pardon me?
Dwight, thank you.
You're welcome.
In regards to, the question in regards to how close, and from my understanding, if you're in that last track, and I don't know where the numbers are, but I assume that they're gonna be building right on the other side of your home, so in your backyard, basically. There'll be some homes built, if I remember right.
Yeah, right up against it.
You guys are right there on Nasaza Way. Oh. Okay. And then in regards to the other construction issues, I don't know that we can, as the commission, really have much control over that, but there are some representatives here, so you might be able to connect with one of them, and they may be able to contact the appropriate people, because I'm assuming it's not their department, but they may be able to help in that communication.
We've already connected with one of the people, so hopefully the other one will
Okay. All right, so with that, if there's nobody else that would like to speak to this agenda item, yep, we got another one. By all means, come up, please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Tanya Thurbush, and I live in Ghost Hollow Estates 1 at 578 West Pintail Drive, Lot 103. My home turned 3 months old a few days ago, and it has severe structural damage, severe structural issues. It has leaked since the day after I signed, both above and below slab. It is literally a POS, excuse my mouth. I have never seen anything so horrid in my entire life. I grew up in this business with all of you, and I have worked for the largest developers in the world, Wyndham Worldwide to name one, since I was 15 years old, on Resi since I was 28. I have never seen a crappier build in all my life. I had to bring the registered contractors out, who had to do a 27-page directive and response, who was at my house on the 28th. My ceiling rained for him while he was there. Plugged the vacuum into the island, my kitchen rained. I can't make this stuff up. The dishwasher spit out, leaked off to the left side. I have slab leaks. I'm infested with roaches and termites already because they forgot to do the post-slab treatment. So I am just asking that either A, the land sells to a better builder, or 2, LGI is required to hire a better sub. They are cutting concrete and not disclosing it to the home buyers. They're cutting post-tension cables and not disclosing it to the home buyers. I had a huge cavity and sinkhole in my lot that was sent to me as a picture after the fact by a neighbor or somebody in the development. I was never disclosed that my house was built on a big old cavity, and my neighbor's foundation collapsed during build, and they filled it with rocks, wood, and mud until the kid called the city and asked the building officials to come out and intervene. This is just not okay. We've got people in here that own homes that need to sell them later, or it's the largest asset they're ever going to be able to buy, some of them. But we're asking them to not only plug into 15-year-old crusty distribution systems that MC Homes put in 2006, 2008, that they're not disclosing either, so brand new homes into old systems. The roads are completely cracked, fissures everywhere, sinkholes in 2 or 3 other lots that just went undisclosed. And we have to be able to protect our homeowners' future as well. Their asset, the cities, instead of having a huge blowback later on us because we wanted growth and we wanted it too quickly without crossing our Ts, dotting our Is. I'm not accusing anyone here of doing that. I'm just, I don't believe that the quality of work is good. I don't think it, in fact, the first 10 pages of my directive says doesn't even meet minimum builder standards. And I can forward that to whoever wants it. That's all I have. It's just please consider who you're selling the land to and who's the subs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else like to speak to this agenda item? Seeing nobody else, I will close the public portion. Bring it back to the commission.
I just have a comment or question more this way. Who is it that checks for the settling of the ground and all that? Because I know, I've been here forever, and the Indian Hills area, which is just south of there, has had massive problems with the cracking and the ground settling and all that for the last 40 years.
So the building process requires that we obtain a specific geotechnical soils report for the subdivision, and that geotechnical engineer analyze that soil and design foundations that are specific to that soil type, including any kind of over excavation and new soil import that might have to happen. And then the process continues to require the geotechnical engineer that prepared that report to supervise the work and ensure that his recommendations were followed by the builder. So that's what the city requires the report. We require that the report says that the inspections will be performed by the geotechnical engineer who prepared the report. We do similar things with foundation designs. They're designed by a civil engineer, given the specific soil conditions, and then we get a special inspection report that says that the foundation design was followed and properly installed. The building inspectors do look at the post-tension slabs to make sure that whatever rebar and post-tension cables that are required to be installed have been installed, but whether or not that design is adequate or not is the job of the design engineer of that foundation.
Those would all be bonded out people to where there was an issue later, they'd have an issue with those in their bonding company.
I don't know about the bonding out, but I do understand that these new homes are probably covered under a builder warranty for like a year or something. I'm not sure the specifics of in this case, but most new homes are under a builder warranty to address those kinds of issues.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments or conversation?
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept, to approve DSA-21-0020 with the following technical conditions, corrections from the staff.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? The only comment that I guess I'll add to this before we move forward is understand concerns have been expressed in regards to the structures, the building, but the agenda item in front of us today has simply to do with just platting of new homes. And so that's what we can make a decision on, and not in regards to the actual construction of that homes that will be built on that plat. So those are my comments. All right. Natalie, would you call the roll?
Member Peters?
Aye.
Member Benedict?
Certainly distressed to hear the issues past, but again, as the chairman has said, that what we are here to address doesn't address those issues. I hope they can be addressed by the builder in the future. My vote is aye.
Member Estrada,
Yes.
Member Dugan,
Yes.
Vice Chairman McBride.
Yeah, I'd just like to give a comment before that. I would really suggest that the homeowners that have issues take care of it right away. And most of the home builders that are building in Casa Grande are going to be responsive. You know, I've never dealt with this one personally, but I'm sure that if you put all of your questions and all of the notes and all of the pictures out there, that you'll have it. So at the end of the year, if it doesn't have it and your warranty's gone, then you'll have some recourse. But I'm going to vote yes.
Chairman Miller,
Yes. Motion approved. All right. Good luck on your next steps in phase 2. Thank you guys all for being here and
Goodbye.
oh.
That was the last applicant on Zoom.
Timing is everything. Timing is everything, I guess, right? We just. I think they were preoccupied, so I think we're okay. All right. So next agenda item, public hearing in consideration of a request by John Dremler, DSA 21-00054 for a conditional use permit. Mr. Gagliardi.
Good
Switching
evening,
it up.
Chairman, members of the commission. So this is a conditional use permit request, which if approved would allow a 20-foot tall detached accessory garage over 675 square feet. A little bit of background information. This site is located just south of the Tri-Valley Shopping Center on the east side of Colorado Street. The homeowner, John Dremler, is wishing to construct an 884 square foot, 20-foot tall detached garage on the north side of his property between his house and Tri-Valley Shopping Center. The property is zoned urban ranch, and in that zone district, detached garages larger than 675 square feet requires the approval of a conditional use permit. Also in that zone district, accessory structures, when taller than the primary structure, would also be subject to the approval of a conditional use permit. In this case, it's a single-story home, 14 feet tall, and the planned garage is 20 feet tall, so you would be considering approval of that as well. Here's a site plan excerpt for you to look at. It's oriented so that the top of the site plan is Colorado Street, so you're looking west, the top is west. And as I mentioned, the home is planned on the north, the garage is planned on the north side of the home. The lot is well over an acre, I think it's 1.29 acres. And so it's situated in a place where there's minimal impact to surrounding properties. With the construction of that garage, there would still be 16 feet between it and the north property line that is shared with Tri-Valley Shopping Center. It's 130 feet away from the front property line, and at least that, if not greater, from the east property line, looking towards the bottom. These are two different perspectives of the site. The top picture shows the view of the house from Colorado Street, and the fact that it does border Tri-Valley, a commercial use, and that's the back access road. The construction of the garage is actually, it's an ideal location because it helps with compatibility between a commercial site and a single family residential dwelling. The bottom picture is looking west you're in the backyard of the property looking west towards Colorado. And where the proposed location of the garage is going is behind the fence return. So there's going to be good screening within view of the street. When reviewing the conditional use permits that get presented to us, they must meet the review criteria within the city code. The staff report goes into these criteria in more detail, but essentially we found that all of the criteria have been addressed. Essentially, there are some specific conditions that do help protect the public health, safety, and general welfare. And the 3 specific conditions are, number 1, the use of this accessory structure shall be limited to personal use of the occupants of the principal structure. The applicant advised it's primarily to accommodate storage. They're going to have a off-highway vehicle stored in there, and there will be a loft area for additional storage as well. The second condition, no commercial businesses or second dwelling is not permitted in the space, and I realized that there was a typo. So it actually should read no commercial business or secondary dwelling is permitted. So there will be a revision on that resolution. And then the third condition is that additional expansion beyond that 884 square feet, or should the building be taller than 20 feet, would require new conditional use permit consideration. The public notification process met that which is required by city code, and there hadn't been any comments received as a result of this. So staff does recommend that Planning Commission approve the conditional use permit and its associated resolution for the placement of this garage, subject to the 3 conditions presented to you this evening, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Member Benedict.
Picture you had, okay, this one's fine. So it'll be behind this fence and gate that we're looking at right here?
Yes.
Okay, and can you help me understand, the diagram shows roll-up doors on the other side?
It's in the backyard. The
To
roll
the
doors are in the
backyard.
backyard.
Correct.
And nothing to the front?
Correct.
There's,
There's a photo I can show you that might provide some clarity. There is an access gate on that bottom picture. It's about a 16-foot wide area. So in theory, a vehicle can pass through that access gate, but the access to the garage would be from the back of the property. So it would have to go around the structure to access. And there's another opening on the south side of the property to get around it too.
yeah, thank you.
Member McBride.
I'm just curious, has construction already started? I see trenches and things like that where it's being built in that picture.
I don't know because it's behind the access gate.
I was just going off the picture you provided.
The applicant is here so he could address that, but you know, there was probably some initial excavation to begin the project and waiting for the decision of Planning Commission to proceed.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff? At this time, would the applicant like to come forward?
My name is John Dremler, and I am the applicant. The answer is I'm an old man, and I've been digging on that for about 3 weeks now, so hoping and anticipation that it was going to pass. If it's not, I just throw the trenches back in and move on, so. And my wife is begging for you guys to approve this because I'm retired, and she's a little tired of seeing me in the house.
So you can get back to work outside, right?
Getting out the house. So. And James, I wanted to thank James. He's done a great job getting me through this process, and very helpful. So it's been easy so far. So.
Any questions for the applicant? Well, thank you for being here. Hopefully it was entertaining for you. All right. I assume there's no public here to speak to this agenda item. So.
Open it anyway.
Commission?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion
Okay.
to approve the conditional use permit and associated resolutions for DSA 21-00054 for the placement of the garage on Colorado Street.
I'll second that motion.
So I have a motion and a second. I'm assuming you made your motion in regards to the corrected,
Yes,
removing the word not.
without
right?
the word not.
Yeah, perfect. Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, Natalie, would you call the roll?
Member Peters,
Aye.
Member Benedict,
For the sake of his wife, absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't resist, I'm sorry.
Member Estrada,
Yes.
Member Dugan,
Yes.
Vice Chairman McBride,
Yes.
Chairman Miller.
Yes. All right. Go build your accessory building now.
Thank all of you.
All right, let's see here. I gotta change the page now. Next up, public hearing and consideration. Man, I've been struggling with that all night. In consideration of a request by Jessica Lavas of Quick Trip, DSA 21-00035, preliminary replat of Lot 1, Casa Grande Mercado Addition.
So you might recall that back in December, the major site plan consideration for Quick Trip was in front of you. Planning Commission had approved it. It was for the construction of the Quick Trip gas station, including a fuel canopy at the southwest corner of Camino Mercado and Florence. It's just shy of 5,000 square feet in size, and the canopy is just over 9,000 square feet. The subject site, however, involves purchasing property different than how it's presently configured. If you see on the aerial image to the right, the shape of the planned parcel sort of overlaps the two parcels that currently sit out there. And then also, part of the major site plan review had identified that a public access easement was going to be needed for the sidewalk that is running along the west side of Camino Mercado, due to the fact that there was a turn lane to be constructed and the sidewalk needed to shift slightly over onto the property. Also, associated with development, there's a requirement to dedicate necessary public right-of-way. Florence was lacking 20 feet per our major arterial roadway standard, so that was an identified need. And then also, the plan calls for a cross-access for a planned shared driveway between the Quick Trip site and the undeveloped parcel to the west. And so all these, for all these reasons, a replat is very helpful because it can be identified and achieved through the plat. The replat essentially will take one large lot and split it into two. Quick Trip will be just shy of 2 acres and will be formally known as Lot 1. And then the vacant parcel to the west and it wraps to the south, also commercially designated, will be known as Lot 2. When reviewing preliminary plats, these are the points that we look at to ensure that it's a sufficient document, and I'll just walk through these with you real quick. The first one is conformance to the city's zoning ordinance. So this property is located within the Casa Grande Mercado Addition planned area development. Commercial development is allowed. There's no lot sizes or dimensions imparted in that zoning district, but I did look at the most comparable zone district that does have lot size and dimensions, which is the B2 zone district, and it complies with that. The conformance with the city's general plan is also something that we look at. So the subject area lies within 2 land use designations per the 2020 general plan. It actually is part in community center and part in neighborhoods. However, both of these designations do allow for commercial development. And with the 2030 general plan, which is being considered later this month, proposes this whole area to be put into one land use designation known as community corridor. The accommodation of historic drainage pattern and developed drainage retention was already looked at to a great extent with the consideration of the major site plan. And there's also a site development permit for this project under review. And so we have already done a lot of analysis with regard to ensuring that drainage is handled. With regard to utility access and other easements that may be necessary, the preliminary plat does identify that the final plat will provide for the necessary easements, such as the cross access with the empty lot and the public sidewalk easement along Camino Mercado. So again, this just shows you the location of the shared access drive between the commercial site to the undeveloped commercial site on the west and the Quick Trip site. And then also you see the sidewalk that is along Florence and wraps around on the west side of Camino Mercado will have a public access easement where it goes into the property. The last review consideration is that in order to ensure adequate public road and infrastructure, 20 feet of the property will be dedicated for Florence Boulevard right-of-way along both lots 1 and 2. One of the advantages of a pre-plat is we will get the right-of-way dedication for the entire subdivision, so well west of the Quick Trip lot. So that's an advantage, because ordinarily we would only be able to get dedication abutting the developing parcel or property. Sufficient dedication for Camino Mercado already exists, so no additional right-of-way is needed for that road. Regarding the notification process, the notification efforts met that which is required in the city code, and staff has not received any inquiries or comments as a result of that notification effort. Just a brief overview of the next steps. Should Planning Commission approve this preliminary replat, a final replat will be scheduled for City Council. That's actually already under review. The final plat and any sort of associated easements will be recorded with Pinell County. And as I mentioned, the building permit and site development permit are already in our system under review. So with that, staff recommends that Planning Commission approve the preliminary replat for Casa Grande Mercado Edition. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for staff? No?
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that I don't like that, going out the front road. I know it's not what we're voting on, but that's in David Snyder's
Yes,
behalf.
there you go.
I'm mentioning
That's
that.
right. There you go.
No, I'm good though.
All right. No questions for staff then. This time would the applicant and or their representative like to come forward? Thank you for being here this evening.
Thanks for having us. So for the record, my name is Lauren Proper Potter. I'm here on behalf of Quick Trip, P.O. Box 1833, Tempe, Arizona, 85280. You guys kind of had a little bit of a long night, so I'll keep it brief, but it's been sort of a weird year, so I figured I wouldn't pass up an opportunity to come to the podium. We do want to thank you for your consideration, and just to let you know that we're excited to bring another Quick Trip into Casa Grande. I'm here for any questions if you have any. Otherwise, I'll go sit down.
No questions?
I got one question. What do you plan to do with Lot 2?
So we actually won't own Lot 2. The current property owner is going to maintain ownership.
Okay, so they have no idea what they, but.
That's correct. Quick Trip doesn't know what the property owner's current plans are for the remaining parcel 2, but we hope it's a compatible use, so see what happens. Okay, thank you all.
Any other questions? No? Well, thanks for being here. All right. Open it up to the public. Seeing nobody, I'll close it. Commission?
Chairman, I'll move to approve the preliminary plat DSA 21-00035.
Second. Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Linda, or Natalie, will you call the roll? I did that for too long. Had Linda in that seat for way too long, apparently.
Member Peters?
Aye.
Member Benedict?
Aye.
Member Estrada?
Yes.
Member Dugan?
Yes.
Vice Chairman McBride?
Yes.
Chairman Miller?
Yes. All right. Last but not least. Thank you. You were here for almost the whole thing. You didn't want to stay for the whole thing.
You don't
Finish strong. Come on. Yeah, right. Well, you'll never know now.
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure.
All right. Public hearing and consideration request by David Maldonado of Bowman Consulting for DSA 20-00206 for a major site plan.
So this is a request for a new Whataburger major site plan. It would be 3,750 square feet in size on a future 1.3 acre parcel just east of the Walmart shopping center. I'll show you an excerpt of the site plan on the next slide, but just continuing with the overview, they're to provide 46 parking spaces. And an interesting thing to note is this will be the first development within the Los Prados Planned Area Development Zone District since Denny's in 1988, which, yes, that it was 33 years ago. There's a lot of other pending development within the Los Prados PAD. After the hotel was built in Denny's on the northeastern portion of the PAD, it has sat vacant after all this time. And there's actually 2 other developments that are currently under review. And so you'll be seeing those in front of you in the upcoming months. There's a proposed Aldi's to the east of the Whataburger site between Whataburger and the existing Denny's and hotel. And to the south of Aldi's and Whataburger is a proposed single family for rent development. The site plan for Whataburger, as that's the topic for this evening, is in front of you on the screen. As you see, there's actually no direct access to the site from Florence Boulevard. They're going to get its access from the Walmart access drive to the west. This is beneficial in that there is not a need then for yet another driveway onto Florence Boulevard. There's a specific spacing requirement for driveways, especially along a major arterial road. There's a lot of conflicts with frequent driveways, and so it eliminates that concern. There is an existing cross-access easement in place, even as way back as when the Los Prados Planned Area Development Zone District was created. It had identified potential tie-ins to the Walmart site, which of course wasn't developed at the time, but it had been long anticipated. When reviewing the major site plan, there's specific review criteria that have to be evaluated. The staff report goes into each of these in more detail, but I'm going to focus on the items that are highlighted here. The first one is the conformance to the city's zoning ordinance. As I mentioned, it is located within the Los Prados Planned Area Development Zone District. And this specific area of its land use plan was identified as commercial. And we evaluated that this would be in line with the proposed, or with the uses and development standards imparted in the PAD. The other criteria I want to talk about is conformance with the city's general plan. So this subject site is located within the community center land use designation. One of the things about the community center land use is it promotes development that minimizes visibility of vehicles, and it really promotes pedestrian activity and walkability, which is a challenge because you have a lot of development right next to Florence Boulevard, which is fairly auto dominant. So to help contend with that is they are providing a pedestrian connection from the existing sidewalk along Florence Boulevard directly to the building. As you see with the orange arrows, there'll be an entrance from the Florence Boulevard sidewalk into the site. There'll be a crosswalk leading to the building. There's also going to be a 3-foot high screen wall, which will screen the vehicle parking spaces that are planned facing Florence. But also what that does is it brings architecture closer to the street. So what people will see from Florence is not necessarily an ocean of parking, but more of a built form. And also, one of the conditions is that there's any detached signage proposed for the site would be limited to a monument sign no taller than 15 feet. That's also more to scale with what we're trying to achieve with a pedestrian form. So there's 2 specific recommended conditions related to the general plan. This first condition is slightly modified from what you saw in your staff report. It's that the screen wall to be constructed shall be constructed out of materials that are complementary in color and texture to the exterior of Whataburger and the proposed Aldi's development to the east, to try to achieve compatibility with the planned development. The other condition is that freestanding signage shall be limited to monument style, as I already covered. The other criteria that I want to talk about is sort of a hybrid between pedestrian and vehicular ingress and egress, as well as the criteria above the existing and anticipated traffic and parking conditions. So there was a traffic impact analysis provided with the major site plan, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but firstly, with regard to the pedestrian connectivity, I already mentioned the sidewalk coming in off of Florence. They're also going to plan a sidewalk along the south of the site. And that sidewalk will be designed to continue via the construction of a crosswalk to tie into the existing sidewalk network that lies to the south of the pad lots in the Walmart shopping center. This overlays the site plan onto the aerial imagery. There will be 20 feet of right-of-way to be dedicated with the pending pre-plat. That 20 feet is necessary to achieve the 70-foot half-street, which is required for Florence Boulevard. And in addition to the existing cross-access easement, which is how this site will get its access from the Walmart access road, there'll be a continuation of that east-west access drive into the site, which you see lined in purple to the south. And there will also be a north-south cross-access drive shared with Aldi's to the east. Now that access drive does not have access to Florence, but it helps provide good vehicular connectivity between the site. I had prematurely mentioned that TIA that was submitted for review. So it assessed the amount of trips that would be generated with this business and how might that access drive be potentially modified to accommodate development to the east. And so as a result, the TIA made some recommendations. So this is a photo of the Walmart shopping center looking south. And you're at that access drive that's going to be used. So firstly, the stop condition will have to change. Instead of currently how it's set up going north to south, the stop condition will change to where the stop sign will be for traffic going east and west. That's especially important because the internal drive will be extended to the east, so that east-west drive will have the stop condition. Also, the 2-lane northbound traffic condition on that access drive will be restriped so that the internal lane will be both a through lane and a left turn. And then the right northbound lane will be a right only to help negotiate the additional traffic that will be making lefts now. And so it will be restriped, and there's also a recommendation for some temporary signage that advises travelers of the change in the traffic pattern. Regarding the public notification process, the efforts met that which is required by city code. Staff has not received any inquiries or comments as a result of that notification. Staff does recommend that Planning Commission approve the major site plan. However, there are some conditions. Most I already covered in the staff report. I do just want to remind you I made a slight modification to that screen wall comment. And then there's a number of items that have to be addressed at the site development permit phase, such as the extension of the crosswalk, etc. And then prior to the certificate of occupancy, there either needs to be a replat to occur or a map of dedication to ensure that we have the right-of-way for Florence Boulevard, and that there also be any sort of additional cross-access easements necessary to accommodate the future development plans to the east and south of this site. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for staff? Member McBride.
Yeah, about drainage in that area, because I know with just a very moderate rain, that thing floods. It's just standing in water, that whole section through there. Is there something that's going to alleviate that problem on their property?
Yes, so there was drainage analysis provided. A large part of the problem is due to the fact that Florence for a long time was a state highway. It's no longer a state highway through this portion of Casa Grande, but when that road was built, it was raised up from the adjacent properties, and it's effectively created a dam. And so the historic, or if that road wasn't there, you wouldn't probably have the pooling that you see right now. But in order to accommodate the proposed development, both the developed flows would have to be addressed. They're proposing areas of underground retention, and then the historic drainage pattern will also be mitigated. But that historic drainage pattern, like I say, has been somewhat modified because of that road, so the plan will take that into account. And the applicant can speak to that more too.
Okay, thank you.
Member Benedict.
So, Jim, I can't help myself. I have to make this comment. I thought I heard you say that lot had been empty since the plat was originally put up. I believe that lot was farmed. That's not empty.
Yes.
So
I think I've also seen sheep there at some point.
that would be that would be a good farmer using his land. So.
I have two questions.
Just have to. I'm sorry.
I got a
Go ahead.
question. So when you build the grocery store and the apartments, are all of them, is all that traffic, are you going to have another access to Florence Boulevard, or is all the people from the grocery store and everything going to go through this light?
Well,
I'm going to go to a slide that shows everything that's currently under review. So one of the things to point out is that when there is development adjacent to a planned public right-of-way, they have to make half-street improvements. So with the planned single-family for rent product that abuts Via del Cielo will be extended, and there will be an access point for that community to access that road. Sure. Oh, I get to try. We have a new clicker, so we have a laser pointer now. So
Okay.
No, you got it.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. It doesn't,
Just use the mouse.
But I don't know if
Just
the commissioners are gonna see
right where
that.
the red and the blue meet.
I don't
looks like
have
there's
access
an
to the
entrance.
mouse,
Okay.
so.
Right where the red and the blue
So Via
meet.
del Cielo will be extended here to accommodate the development of the single-family rental product, and there will be an access drive
All the way
right
up.
there, which will provide an opportunity for these residents to exit out onto Via del Cielo. Additionally, this east-west drive that would be extended from Walmart will tie in to Aldi's. There is a planned driveway on Florence, but not on the Whataburger site, but rather on the Aldi's site. So there will be an additional access opportunity for people to come in and out of the site through this planned driveway further to the east.
Got it. And they'll be able to go left or right out of there, off the grocery store, correct?
That I'm going to defer to our traffic.
So glad we got a traffic guy back in the building, man.
I'm always
I tell
concerned
ya.
about traffic, you know, and all this. Okay, go ahead.
So you're asking if the Aldi's Drive will be a full access?
Yeah.
So, I guess technically I would say that we're not speaking in regards to all these, because it's not an agenda item, so we can't actually speak on it, because it's not.
All we're doing is talking about traffic, we're not talking about this.
I know, but you're asking about a subject from the
future
agenda
program.
that's not on our agenda, but.
Okay.
You don't want me to answer?
Well, look, the access you're talking about will connect to the Whataburger. It'll have access to it. So why don't we just talk about the concept of the new access that's going to be developed east of Whataburger on Florence?
Potentially.
Okay.
Potential.
Potential.
It's not on the agenda.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Can you go left or right out of the potential connection to Whataburger from Aldi's?
So right now, they're in the process of doing their traffic impact analysis, which I think could come back as that is a right in, right out only. But that hasn't been determined yet.
Right up your alley.
Right up, yeah.
Makes sense with a traffic light right there anyways, but we'll let the TIA. Remember Benedict, yeah.
So since that potential, is that shared with the
Denny's?
one that's right directly adjacent to it?
Yeah.
Potentially, it may be.
What was the question?
What was it?
Denny's entrance and Aldi's
Denny's and
entrance should
Albi's
be shared.
entrance, is that gonna be shared?
No, it won't.
No, there's no cross-access between the hotel and Denny's and the properties to the west.
So then we're gonna have an issue with having two entrances. Bam, bam.
We will have the
Potentially,
public-
but we're talking about it.
the public
we're talking-
street, the existing public street, and maybe possibly a new right in, right out, yes.
Okay.
Well, get to.
I don't want to
We'll
jump
get
to an
that
agenda
later.
item, or to an item that's
Yeah.
not on our agenda yet. Like we're having more. Anyways, I want to just go with the fact that it's Whataburger, right? So it's Whataburger. He's shaking his head like, and then the only question I have for staff real quick, she's gonna wipe that down and we'll bring up the applicant. I didn't see on the site plan that there was a sidewalk coming down the entrance, the existing entrance on, does that make sense? On
Yes.
the
No, I
west side?
understand. Yeah.
With
So-
this pedestrian-friendly concept how come we don't have a sidewalk?
So this was discussed, and that is a good point. There is a sidewalk on the west side of the access drive. Part of the complication with putting a sidewalk on the east side of the access drive is it would wipe out the landscaping that is on that side, and then the grade significantly drops, and you enter onto the Whataburger site. And so based on the applicant's consideration of that discussion, he had indicated that it wasn't feasible for them, but he could speak to that issue more if you'd like.
I'll bring
James,
that up
could you
with him.
show him the aerial photo, maybe?
I
You
got
can-
one more question.
That
for
way you
staff.
can show that
Sure, we'll meet you
landscaping.
there. No worries. We're not going anywhere.
I think you have a nice,
We're not leaving. We don't gotta leave right now.
you have a nice aerial of the access, I think.
Yeah, that's a great area.
That's pretty good.
So, Member Dugan, ask your question.
Go back to the plan picture.
All right.
The plan of the Whataburger. I gotta ask a question that's on the picture. There we go.
Oh.
You see on the left-hand side, you got all those little squares. What are those?
Underground drainage.
Is that drainage?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know what that was.
Nuclear
I now know what it
facility.
is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Make the swamp go away.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? All right, the highly anticipated moment. Thank you for sitting through this long meeting.
It was very entertaining.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. So for the record, my name is David Maldonado. I am from Bowman Consulting Group. My address is 1295 West Washington Street in Tempe, Arizona.
Awesome.
I really don't have anything else to add to James' presentation. It was really good. Thank you very much. And I just really wanted to thank you all for your time and consideration, and all of the city staff as well for their help in allowing us to coordinate not only the Aldi project and Whataburger, and then also the project to the south. So, thank you very much.
All right, do we have any questions for the applicant?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I drove by there many times after rain, and there's a lot of water sitting there. If I were you, I'd build that thing up at least 2 to 3 feet high. Otherwise, when you get a down rain, I don't care how much diverted. It's just to be safe, I'd build that thing 2 to 3 feet higher.
Thank you very much, Member Ducan. We are actually raising it up, and we are, with the assistance of the City of Casa Grande, we did receive a drainage report that was prepared by Intellis, and it analyzes the overall drainage that impacts the city. And so we have the flows, we've analyzed it along with the engineers for Aldi, with Kimley Horn, and then also with the engineers that are doing the multifamily project to the south, that is Hilgard Wilson. And we collaborated and make sure that our finished floors are protected.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? I got a question for you then. The sidewalk. Talk to me about the sidewalk.
Sure.
How come we just eliminated this? I understand the grade, but you're bringing it up. Can we cut it in closer to the parking lot so you don't mess up? I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, so with our proposed development, we have a sidewalk that provides a connection to Florence Road, or Florence Boulevard. And then we also have a connection on the south that goes east and west. So we have a northern connection already, and then we have an east and west connection. The existing sidewalk on the axis of Walmart is on the west side of that driveway. And then if you look to the north, that driveway also has one sidewalk also, and it's on the east side of that the driveway that goes to the hospital. When we looked at the grading of the existing driveway there, it drops significantly, about 3 or 4 feet, and it's pretty drastic. So in order for us to be able to put a sidewalk there, it would require quite a bit of additional work. There's light poles in there, and there's also existing trees that will have to be removed and replaced. And we feel that with our proposed site plan, we provide sufficient pedestrian connectivity for the development. So.
Questions?
Is this a double drive-through?
Yes.
It is.
Commissioner, yeah, that is correct. We have 2 drive-throughs that are extended all the way to the point of service in the drive-through window.
Member McBride.
This may not be anything that you could even answer or know. Is this going to be an additional Whataburger, or is this going to replace the Whataburger? The local one?
It's my understanding that it's an additional.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing several in the Phoenix metro area, so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My forever joke is Whataburger.
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 Really?
It is. Read it.
I can remember back in the basketball days, back in the sun, many years ago, Whataburger,
Yeah. No, I get
Al
you.
McCoy. Long time ago.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? You got a question? Ask it.
As you were about the sidewalk on the east side of that Walmart access road, it's just a shame that we're losing, once that is developed with the houses below, that's gonna get walked.
Yeah. Or bikes, you're gonna be riding on it, it's gonna be heavily traveled. That's where I don't know if it's a meandering, can you get it outside? I'd like to not mess with the plants, I'm not standing in front of it, I do know it's severely sloped, but in my ideal, the ideal world, I would have a sidewalk there, but.
Yeah.
Not your world.
We agree this time. In my ideal world, I would.
Yeah.
But
am I gonna lose sleep
we
over a
certainly can
sidewalk
move on.
not being there? Yeah, I don't know. It's not my ideal world. Did you say it's not my world we're living in? God. All right.
You finally got that, huh?
I did. Just gonna ignore it, but all right. Well, thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for your
Appreciate
time.
you being patient and enjoying the entertainment this evening. All right. At this time, then, I will open it up to the public. Figured you'd got to come up to talk about something, and we're on the last one, and we hadn't heard from you yet.
There you go.
John McGuire, 1748 North St. Francis Place. I already touched it. Too bad it's out, Natalie. So I actually support the project, of course. Anything that brings in money, I'm a supporter of most of the time, right? But I wish, frankly, that we would have addressed this in a more global fashion as far as the access to this project and the potential projects that we cannot speak about. I would have preferred, frankly, and I've mentioned this, that if these had come in a little bit more closer time frame, we put in a central right lane turn in from Florence to the center of the whole complex so that the people can come in and then go left to the proposed possible retail establishment and straight all the way back to the homes. That's what I would have preferred. I'm not, frankly, a huge fan of this Walmart access. It's going to be a nightmare because people are going to be coming across from Arizola all the way through Walmart to get to the single family homes, and the people are going to be coming from the Carl's Jr. area and up there over all the, I mean, that Walmart parking lot is already not fun when it's busy. And I would have preferred to see that. Again, I'm not going to lose sleep like some of you guys would, and I don't get to make the decision anyways, but I would have preferred to see more of a grand entrance from Florence down the center of this whole parcel for all three projects, give it a little bit of aesthetic beautification along Florence. That's what I would have proposed. But short of that, people that I'm talking to are very excited to have another Whataburger with a little bit more modern look and those kinds of things. So thank you very much.
You had all that time left.
I should have said it's not his ideal world either.
I know, right? That's what I was thinking too. I was like, well. All right, so I'm going to close the public portion. Bring it back to the commission.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, please.
Go for it.
Motion to approve major site plan DSA 20-00206 with the listed conditions.
Motion and second.
I have one more question for the traffic engineer. Are you planning to put a arrow on that stoplight, which now it does not have, because of the additional traffic? It doesn't have one. I don't believe it doesn't have one. Does it?
I know not too long ago, we went in and put some arrows in.
There's arrows there.
Is there an arrow? Must have just been recently. Oh.
You know, in the last 2 or 3 years, yeah. I'm just kidding. I don't know what Okay, so we're in discussion. Any other discussion? Natalie, would you call the roll?
Member Peters?
Aye.
Member Benedict?
Yes.
Member Estrada?
Yes.
Member Dugan?
Yes.
Vice Chairman McBride?
Yes.
Chairman Miller?
Yes. All right. What a burger, man. What a burger.
What a shot and what a burger.
All right, reports by the planning director.
So we have a few things to report this evening. First off, minor site plan approval for Desert Valley Auto. They were just adding some fencing. We had an interesting, actually not a decision yet on the Board of Adjustment, but that PPEP did file an appeal of your denial of their conditional use permit for their special purpose fence. But I determined that their appeal was not timely, that they did not meet the 10-day period under the code to submit it following your decision. So I denied their right to move their appeal to City Council. They appealed my decision to not accept their appeal to the Board of Adjustment, and that is scheduled for hearing next Tuesday. So more to come on that.
Where will that hearing be at? Or what will it be?
The hearing will be right here in this room next Tuesday.
Okay.
Also, the City Council took action on many of your recommendations. They changed the zoning on that 1,062 acres from urban ranch to I-2. They also annexed that property. That's number D on your report. Same property, they annexed it. Under B, that's the bungalows at Cottonwood. They actually had a first reading on that ordinance. Then it was postponed for a meeting. And then Monday evening, they had second reading on that ordinance, but they added some conditions which require a third reading. So that is still going back to City Council on their May 17th meeting for third reading. The Ozza Wells annexation was approved. That's the property that's kind of across from Lucid on the east side of Thornton, so that annexation was approved. And then I've provided you with your reports, and so that's the end of my report.
Can I, I'm gonna take a quick, what is it, point of privilege? I wanna just mention the general plan election and the date, so if anybody's watching, May 18th, right, right, so by next Tuesday, you received it in the mail. If you don't, make sure you get a hold of one, and make sure you get out and vote on that. That's all I got. I just want to remind the public in regards to that election.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Make a movement to adjourn?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.